Brown woman speaking.
Brown woman speaking.
Brown woman speaking.
Please hold for the next available conversation.
What's up, y'all? I'm Portia, the Brown Woman Speaking, and you have reached the Brown Woman Speaking podcast hotline, where every week there's a new topic and a new guest, and you have been granted access to the conversation. This week I am joined by my special guests, Christian and Bria. I don't know what Christian is, but I'm pretty sure.
That Fat Joe. The big boy dance.
So with the whole quarantine thing and all of us sitting down, we started to be more aware of, all the issues going on with the Black community. We were all engulfed with this whole Black Lives Matter thing. We all had a front row seat to everything that was going on. So how did that make y'all feel?
Well, obviously, as a Black woman, it was just sad, but sadly, it's also nothing new to us. Mm-hmm. I was glad that that quarantine and that COVID happened because it got to silence all other issues in the world. It got to silence the day-to-day. So, people who tried to ignore it, you couldn't ignore it. It was right there in front of your face, on your timeline. Most people were at home. So when you're at home, you're on your phone all day, you're watching TV all day. So it was right there. So I felt sad, but I also felt a little content with it having to be in their faces and for the people to have to really face what was going on.
Just to piggyback on what Bria said, man, I grew up in Monroe where the police are very wicked. You know that from a young age. So a lot of this stuff, I don't want the S word on somebody, but I've been aware of these social injustices and but like she said, with COVID happening, it put life at a halt, and all you had to do was sit home and watch TV. So I'm glad that people who think that people of color, specifically African Americans, are out here making stuff up. When we're not, they just so busy with their own lives sometimes that if a problem not directly affecting you, you're not out looking for sources to see what's going on. But once COVID happened, you can't go anywhere, you can't go to work, or you're working from home and stuff like that. So now, like you say, you seeing all this stuff on TV, on the news outlets and stuff like that. So it just brings more awareness to all the issues that we've been complaining about for years, and it brings it to the front street where now the masses actually know what's going on. Now at this point, if you choose to ignore it, then that just it just makes you who a lot of people perceive you to be in the first place.
When you guys hear the word colorism, what are your initial thoughts?
Well, when I hear it, I immediately think of Black people separating themselves amongst light skins, dark skins, who's mixed, who's not. So that's what I hear.
Mm-hmm.
When I hear colorism, I just imagine somebody of a lighter tone speaking down on someone of a darker tone. It's that simple. That's what I think of when I hear colorism.
So have you never experienced a darker skinned person, it being vice versa?
I mean, I have on not really in person, but I see people mention that stuff on social media about how they talk about how can a darker tone person have be labeled as being colorism towards a lighter skinned person, and they had the same debate saying the oppressed can't be the oppressor, so they saying they only doing that to get back at the lighter tone people. But I see it as the darker people have been probably facing more of a backlash since they can remember since growing up. So I have seen it, but it's not as prominent as the light skin, dark skin thing.
I would say, and honestly, I feel like they're justified in it. Women of darker tones coming at me, well, not really coming at me, but being more hesitant with first meeting me because they're not gonna know. And I wouldn't even consider myself that light skinned.
I was just about to say, X, do you consider yourself light skinned or?
I'm kind of caramel. I don't think I'm high yellow. I'm red. So, but still, I think coming off bat, more chocolate, more brown women, they kind of have a hesitancy towards the fair skinned girl because of the connotations that have been set by them, by society, of them just thinking that, oh, she's probably gonna be rude, that she's probably gonna be a bitch, that she's gonna think of herself more uppity, more high-ditty than me. And so I kind of, from my take, I just kind of make sure that I am welcoming and that I'm not, and that's not who I am in general, but that I'm not a bitch and that I don't come off as all of those things.
See, for me, okay, like how you said, I don't consider myself like dark skin. I am brown, but I don't say I'm dark skin. Only out of respect for the darker complexion.
Truly darker, yeah.
Who have experienced more oppression from our race than I have. I didn't.
Mm-hmm.
I cannot recall a time where I was ever teased or anything like that for my skin, but I can recall darker women who were darker than me, or men who were darker than me being teased for their skin. So I try not to kind of put myself in their shoes because
woe is me. You don't try to do that. Yeah.
Yeah, like I can't relate. Like I haven't experienced that. And then crazy, like I grew up in a household, my mom is very, 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 very fair skinned. And she never made me feel like my skin tone was, some people grow up in households and they make them feel as though your darker skin is
lesser than.
And my mama never made me feel like that. I cannot pinpoint a single time she has ever said anything about my skin at all, or she has ever said something about her skin and bringing light to how light skinned she is, like ever.
That's what I was gonna ask you too. That was my main question. I guess for both of you all, have y'all experienced colorism within your own families?
Yeah, I haven't. In my family is very mixed. Have you experienced colorism within your family?
Yep, they tell me I look like a Mexican.
Hello, Mexican.
They say I look Mexican or Puerto Rican.
See, like, why we can't just look black? Like,
exactly.
Why we gotta look like
another race in general?
They say I look Mexican or Puerto Rican.
I haven't really. I would say the majority of the women in my family are my skin tone. My granny is more chocolate than all of us, and I can definitely tell that she experienced colorism growing up because, for one, my grandpa, his family was like my skin tone and lighter, and she said that my grandpa's mom didn't really want them to be together because she was chocolate. And so my granny doesn't really say it all the time, but I peep it here and there. She'll be like, oh, so you all think just because like you're light skinned, say it all jokingly, but you can tell it was a thing for her. Because you all are light skinned, you think that you all are like better than me sometimes. And I'm like, it hurts me, but I'm like, I understand, you know what I'm saying, where it's coming from and why you're saying it. But other than that, our family wasn't really separated upon color.
Okay, Christian, I want to ask you this. And be honest, this is a judgment-free zone.
What's that?
When it comes to women, are you more attracted to a lighter skin tone woman or a darker skin tone woman, or you just open?
Man,
honesty.
Open. I'm for real. I'm open. Like, I ain't really got no preference. I mean, black women, period. I don't really date outside my race, but dark skin, brown skin. I tend to lean more towards like brown skin, not light skin or dark skin, like somewhere in the middle. But I date light skin, dark skin, brown skin, short hair, long hair, curly hair. I don't care.
Okay, that's good.
There we go.
That's good because I really feel like we have totally internalized the whole light skin, dark skin thing. That lighter skin tones are better,
We
and
have, and that's
we
so it's
have
so annoying. It's
it wasn't something that we came up with ourselves.
To be honest, it wasn't. I would say so. I'm from for those of you watching, I'm from North Louisiana. I'm from Shreveport, kind of by Monroe, where Christian is from. But in Shreveport, we have like you're either white or black type thing. There, we didn't really have like a whole bunch of mixed kids. It wasn't like a whole bunch of what they consider good hair girls around. But like I didn't really see colorism until I got more down south to UL. So I'm working with girls who are saying, "Oh, he likes that girl. She's too dark and stuff like that." And to be honest, I am sadly not good about correcting another woman when they say statements like that. I just feel like as soon as I hear a statement like that out of a girl's mouth, I don't even honestly want to continue the conversation with her or try to have the conversation because I feel like her mental plane is like kind of lower than mine, and I feel like there's no need to have this conversation. But I should start correcting that when I hear it.
Right. So what would you guys suggest? The fact that we are very aware of this being an issue in our community, what would you guys suggest, or what do you consciously do, or what do you want to start doing to kind of dig the issue?
I really feel like it starts when you're young. 'Cause I know, like when I was young, um, I, to me it was a joke. I ain't think nothing of it, but we used to call like my partners who was like dark skin, African booty scratchers, and all the jokes. So it started young, but you young, so you're not knowing
Yeah.
like what's really going on, and like it just really like a social norm. And honestly, I don't think it's. I think it's always gonna be a problem. I don't think it's fixable, to be honest. I think it's always gonna be like just like racism. It's always gonna be a group of people, no matter if 98% of the world is not racist. There's gonna be a small percentage of the people who still believe thoughts like this. But just continue to uplift, just uplift the black community as a whole. That's the only thing we can really do.
I think what I do consciously, if well, you see me, Portia, I'll post on my story like all day. I'll just post images. And I feel like a lot of it has to do with what the media portrays as pretty and how they portray lighter skin women and curlier hair women as, the poster child of how they want a black person to kind of look. And so what I do is I make sure that I'm posting all shades, or I'll like make sure some days I just strictly want to post just chocolate women, because I'm like, they do need to be loved on, they do need to be uplifted. Some of my friends have told me their stories, and I'm like, it's senseless to me to be another black person tearing down a black person, but that's what we want to do. I mean, let that be your thing. But for me, I mean, I make sure that I'm just like, you're beautiful. Like I'm reiterating to darker women, like, you're beautiful. This is beauty as well.
You mentioned the uh, curly hair, good hair thing. So how do you guys feel about that?
Well, growing up, people always told me I had good hair, 'cause my hair curly and stuff like that. I used to think, growing up, you got curly hair, just smooth hair, it's good. And people got nappy hair, it ain't good. Like you need to go comb your hair, do something to it. But now, no, growing up, like I say, growing up and just really, basically going to college is like, 'cause like when you grow up at home and be at home, like and hang around the same people all the same time, pretty much everybody you hang around with gonna have like a same type of mentality or same type of thought. So you're not gonna really hear the other side of stuff until you venture out and meet new people. So when I got to college, that's when I like met other people and just became a little more socially conscious about stuff like that. And there's like I said, I never thought like people Well, I always thought like the curly hair, no, was the good hair, or whatever. But I didn't think it was that deep when you call somebody hair nappy. Like I didn't never thought it was that serious until I got to college and people be like then you start hearing people's stories and yada yada yada. So yeah, I don't really believe in the whole good hair. You can have curly is curly, if it's straight is straight, if it's natural is natural. As long as you, I mean, it's you. Like if you. I mean, it's you. Like I don't think it's a bad hair. Now you gotta take care of your hair. You got patches all over your hair, or something like that. But I don't really think it's like no good hair and bad hair.
Right. So you saying like if your hair is healthy, is
Yeah,
good.
if it's healthy, like if it grow, like
If you're just taking care of the upkeep of your hair.
yeah,
Yeah.
like if you got dreads, if you got natural, some black dude they having a little. Well, it's still the hair nappy. It just like I don't perceive nappy as a bad word.
Yeah.
Like the
Yeah.
hair is
Positive connotation.
like it's nappy. Like they can have a negative connotation to the word nappy. Like your hair is nappy, but that's not a bad thing. It's moisturized, it's lined. No, everything is natural. And it's how our hair grows. Some people hair grow like if they don't get a haircut and stuff like that, like their hair just grow like that. Like you say, you keep it up. Like I don't really see it as bad hair or good hair.
Okay, for me, for this, the good hair, bad hair thing was like one of my main reasons for cutting my hair off because I feel like really as a woman, you have to wear your hair a certain way, your hair looks a certain way, or people perceive you as a certain way based on your hair, and it starts to be very consuming just to your mental. So it was
Starts to really internalize it.
yeah. So that was like one of the reasons why I decided to cut off my hair, just to because I think a lot of people who have quote unquote good hair, they start to take on the I have good hair identity, and that's part of them, and they don't have much else going on other than that, other than I have good hair. So I decided to cut mine off just to figure out who am I without this hair, trying to please other people. And cutting my hair off was just the best decision ever. That's just one thing I don't have to worry about, and I'm more conscious of the people. Oh my God, this little girl is so pretty. I love her hair. Or this little boy is so pretty. I love her hair. The kinky hair is beautiful too. So, I started being more conscious about those things, like who they are without this hair. Are you just looking at them because of their hair? Are it starts to get to a point where like merging the dark skin light skin thing together, like if she not light skin but she dark skin and she have good hair, she might be more acceptable than the girl, the dark
skin who has 4C.
Yeah. So it's like all this stuff started merging together, and we unconsciously do it, and that's crazy. So how you feel about the good hair, bad hair thing? Well, good hair, bad hair thing.
I would say based off of my personal story with hair is that my mom, we were just always in extracurricular activities. Hair had to be up in a bun for most of my life because I was a dancer. And so other than that, my mom, I don't think she wanted to deal with my hair too much, which that travels down. Trust me. That watching your mom as a little girl, or just like how your mom took care of your hair, I feel like that travels down because I hear other stories about how some girls were never allowed to play in their hair. Their mama brushed out their hair. They had to have a certain hairstyle, or like they had to always look a certain type of way. My mom always sent us to the beauty shop, perms immediately. Like she didn't really take time, and so as I got older, I didn't want to take time with my hair. But I started wearing weaves and stuff in like high school. And so I saw how like white people looked at me, or like your hair looks so good, or like other black girls like you need to go get your weave done, your hair, why can't your hair be straight or this type of way? And then so when I got to college, I just wanted to like go out on my own journey, and I'm very in tune with myself, and so I really wanted to see how people would treat me, or how mostly men would treat me if I didn't have a certain type of hairstyle. And for me as a woman, when you cut your hair off and you do something totally out of the norm, you tap into like a new level of like yourself, because you have to find a deeper, like Portia said, you have to find something else, just something else about yourself other than your appearance. Basically, you're like, what else do I have to offer? What other areas can I go more in depth with? Like, so somebody just isn't judging you off of, you know, your image.
Colorism, the good hair, nappy hair, all of that is so deep. But these are things that we know that are just not right. It's just not really up for debate. Now, the N word is heavily debated. Harvard University professor Randall Kennedy talks about how the racial slur came to be. He said that whites would use it as kind of a scare tactic for their kids. And we were kind of the equivalent of the boogeyman. Like they would tell them, if you bad, I'm gonna make you sit on the bus on side of the niggas, or if you don't go to sleep, I'm gonna go get the niggas. You know, make them afraid, and then those people grew up to think that we were less than, or that we were troubled people.
We were the boogeyman.
Right. And then the word went to more of a not necessarily a negative connotation of the word, but people started using it ironically. Like he was saying that Dick Gregory, he titled his autobiography "Nigger," and then Richard Pryor, one of his albums was called the That Nigga Crazy. So, and then from there, as we got older, people who are not necessarily totally disconnected from like the Jim Crow era and stuff like that, we started using nigga as a term of endearment. And now there's this huge debate on if we should even be saying the word or not. So how do you guys feel about the whole N-word debate? To say or not to say?
Man, I said, everybody knows that. I don't, if you ain't black, don't say it. That's just how I
Okay,
feel.
so
Like,
why
I
do
don't
you
cut.
Period.
I feel like it's okay because, you know, we as a community has changed the narrative around that word within our own community to something as positive. Like it's like, wait, we're not sitting there. We know when we say that to each other, we're not, you know, being down on someone and stuff like that. Like it's just, I don't know. It's just honestly none I never thought about. It's just like to me, it's just another slang word that me and my friends and family use. Like I don't see the problem with using it. Honestly, I just don't believe none black people should be using it.
So why do you
And
feel that non-black people shouldn't use it? If we're using it as a term of endearment, why do you feel they shouldn't use it?
because they are the ones who came with the word, and the origin of the word come from them. It comes from their ancestors, which means something bad, like means people of less. So in your ancestry, this word to y'all means something totally different to how we use it now. So I just feel like we're gonna always see y'all using the N-word as something racist. It's just what it is. Like, and I feel like if you are not racist or nothing like that, you should not have a problem not saying the word. Like it's not that deep. It's like if a group of people telling you something bothers them, then you just shouldn't do it. Like if white people told me saying that they like mayonnaise is bothering them, I wouldn't just, I like just something like, if it's a mass group of people, I'm just saying like, that's a stereotype white people, they like mayonnaise. I mean, I like mayonnaise too, ain't no wrong with mayonnaise, I love mayonnaise. But I just feel like whatever word, actions, or figures or anything like that, like if it bothers, like you never see people doing stuff that'll bother Jewish people. You don't see posters of Hitler or the Nazis all the time, like being fucking. They wave everywhere, but they'll wave now towards black people because we. Okay, I'm not gonna get that deep into that conversation. We're gonna keep it at this level right now.
Well,
but
I do feel like, I'm sorry to cut you off, but to say
good.
that why Jews don't get constantly reminded of Hitler and all that stuff is because I feel like they have a certain like mentality of like, don't go there with me. And so since they have that mentality of don't go there with me to remind me about those times, you're right, people are more sensitive towards
it's
them.
because they white.
Because they're white, and
it is more acceptable because they're white.
It is more acceptable because they're white, but you don't hear. But I don't personally. I hate to play devil's advocate right here, but I hate to play devil's advocate. I mean, I'm not saying I'm just always around Jews, but we don't necessarily hear Jews making jokes like that as much as we make, as much as we say the N-word. You know what I'm saying? As much as we downplay that. You know what I'm saying? So I'm not giving anybody justification to ever use that N-word. Don't try it, please. But to point out as to why white people or anybody that's not black is more comfortable with the N-word is because of how we so lackadaisically like use the word.
I think it's deeper than that. I think it's because how we brought up in school, like how they downplay slavery and stuff from the get-go.
Oh,
like
we
learn more about Nazi Germany than what we learned about what the hell happened right here in the United States. Couple, like 150 years, how many years ago when slavery ended, quote unquote. Like we learned more about what happened in Germany and how brutal Hitler was to the Jewish people than we actually learned the truth about our own history. So I think that has a play in it too, because if we were taught from a younger age and just taught more about what actually happened, what was going on, like actually slavery, instead of them trying to like
downplay our hurt and downplay our history.
We take a week and a half and learn all of Black history, and we do it, like I said, in a week and a half of school and something like that. So I think it starts from that because, you know, if we just growing up, first of all, if we grow up in a Black neighborhood, everybody using it. We go to school, they telling us, you know, slavery was bad, but, you know, it's not as bad as people thought. They downplaying all the bad history towards it. Us as people, we coming in and growing up, you know, we knowing what happened bad, but until we get more information as we get older, we don't know exactly like all the bad things that was going on. So I think that has a play in it too, because from day one, we learn about how horrible Hitler was and all that. But at the same time, we praise all these what they call them, the colonels from the South who were slave masters. We praise all these older white people who were slave masters, raping people, killing people. But Hitler is held to the right standard as a horrible person across the world.
No, yeah.
America,
you're saying Hitler has they make Hitler pay for his sins versus the other white people who they don't.
Exactly. They definitely show us like I get what Christian's saying. Basically, that us using nigga, because I'm just like weird, as a term of endearment, we don't have the knowledge or we don't have the direct connection to our trauma because it was kind of glazed over for so many years of our life, and now we're like, okay, we can't say that word. So it's over time, the word has grown to a term of endearment, and now we're not supposed to say it. But we're not.
But don't get me.
Huh?
But it's like, don't get me wrong. It's definitely still in my vocab, definitely. But
yeah, I try to be conscious of.
Yeah, I try. Like, it's terrible.
I try not to say it too much, but sometimes you just go into sentence.
I try not to say it around white people too much because I feel like somebody says that they don't say it around them at all, because as soon as we say it around them, that makes them feel comfortable to even, like jokingly say it.
Okay, so with that, at my job, like, okay, me and my friend will be talking, and we'll say nigga, and my manager, he'll be like, no, don't say that. He's white man. But then we'll catch like our white coworker saying it, and he not saying nothing to them because he thinks that we're not listening. And so I'm gonna correct you. Because don't tell me I can't say something and then I'm not around because you feel uncomfortable with it coming out of my mouth. Exactly. But then you're good with them being comfortable saying the word. And so like stuff like that, I'm like, we've made it kind of comfortable for them to say it. Because they feel it's okay because we've made it okay.
Because they feel like we've gotten over all of that.
Yeah, I don't even think it's necessarily because we've gotten over it. I feel like it's because without us, we pretty much make everything popular.
Definitely.
You know, we are like
we are the culture.
We are the blueprint for cool. And so, hey, why I can't be that cool? Why I can't say it? Because you can't.
Because you can't. don't do it.
It's not that hard.
Don't do it.
We do, but it does start from very young. I feel like if we knew more about how negative and hurtful and painful and traumatic the word was, the origin of the word, we would be more conscious about saying the word. But because from freaking pre-K to 12th grade, it was glossed over. Now it's in our vocabulary. So, you know, how much you want us to
do? Just being, I think the only way we probably gonna stop saying it, even if, people, whether you want to stop saying it or not, but if you do, I just think we just have to be more conscious. And that's probably like the only way that would stop.
Yeah. I think it's one of those things where it's like, if you don't like it, don't do it. It's like how I feel about abortion. Like if you're not for abortion, don't get one.
Don't do it. I had a black friend. I had a black friend. Jesus, I had this girl that's like my sister in high school. She didn't want any of us to say the N-word, and she would call us out right then and there. She said, "Don't say that word around me." She didn't care if it was black, white, nothing. You don't get to say that word.
But that's okay to have boundaries. I respect like if you like, I'm not comfortable with that. I respect your boundary, and I'm gonna try to make
sure I don't say
make a conscious effort not to say it. Now, if I say it, don't try to go hard on me because I fight.
Exactly.
I will fight you, and it's just gonna be something. But we have to learn, and like the whole healing thing. I feel that whites accept that trauma more because Jews look more like them. So that they can relate more than they can relate to us. You know, they kind of internalize, oh, those people look just like me, like they could have been me.
Colorism.
Or I don't even have blue eyes and blonde hair. So dang, they could have been me in those camps. So they take on some of their trauma, and so they understand it better. They don't look like us. They could never look like us. No matter how long they stay in the sun or in the town, they will never, ever, ever, ever understand, how we feel. And for you to try to tell us that we can't say a word because you don't feel uncomfortable, this is not your place.
Exactly.
I think personally, I feel like the N-word, it gonna keep getting said. Like
It is.
This is gonna keep getting said, and I don't think that's something that's just not gonna go away.
I just need to,
yeah.
I just need to watch me saying it around them because I suck at that.
Yeah.
It makes them so comfortable. And then by the time that they say it, I'm like, I know I need to be checking you hard right now, but I know I probably said it around you like 10, 20 times.
No, I'm gonna still check you.
Definitely.
I need you to know that. I need you to know that. First of all, I feel that if you say it and you know that it makes us
they'll whisper
if
it.
you
They'll
know
just say
that
it so under their breath.
Yeah, if you know that we don't want you to say it and you say it, now I feel like you trying to disrespect me.
You trying me in my face.
Like you trying me, you like tiptoeing, like, let me see if she gonna say something. And it is gonna say something to you. Because now you trying to play on my top.
Exactly.
Because you know you don't supposed to say it, but you trying to see if you can say it. And then I don't respect when we can't hold only certain people to those standards. Like if we're gonna say we don't want y'all saying it, then
your friends gotta count.
I got 5 white friends. You can't let your 5 white friends say it. Because these people not your friends, they can't say it. It's not making sense. I'm looking at they looking at you allowing your friends to say it. What's the
That's what I'm saying. I had a white friend.
I keep our word. That's the thing.
I had a white friend that I used to cheer with, and like some years after we graduated, like probably last year, she asked us, she was like, why did y'all allow me to say the word? And I was just like, dang, like we really did. We let her get away with so much. But I felt like we let her get away with so much because we knew she wasn't racist at heart. But at the same time, nobody should be allowed to say that word at all.
Man, I had some of my partners in high school. They let the white boys on the football team, joke around, say nigga.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't care how cool it is. Like I don't see me. I'm gonna say something the first time, then I'm gonna choose violence the second time because I feel so strongly. I just feel so strongly about that. Like I don't care how cool. Like bro, I can be knowing you for 30 years. I can know your grandma, your great grandma, mama, daddy, uncle, niece, nephews. You should never feel comfortable enough to say the N-word around me, bro. As a whole, black people, we just gotta start embracing ourselves more and not giving a fuck on what other people think. Black people, we tend to want to be included or want to be inclusive too much. Like if somebody ain't, if another race ain't fucking with it, fuck it. Like do it for your people. Like we gotta be more in tune with ourselves as a whole and support our own how we support other people. Cause I see too many people. Another thing I don't like if you just if you want to buy a Hanes t-shirt and putting a logo on something and you try to charge $50 for, I can see why people complain about that. But I don't like when people actually taking time to design their own clothing or designing this, and just because they black people tend to want to get a discount. I feel like we need to start just, support black people.
Full price for us.
And pay for it because like I say, like some people like this they hard on work, like they actually like this they crap, like they do this, like they not half ass. You're not getting half ass shit.
Treat it as if it's Gucci that you want.
Exactly. You're not getting it. You're not getting half ass material and clothing just because it's not coming from Gucci or nothing like that. Like you still getting good quality work. So I just feel like we just need to sometimes just don't need to always. I don't know. I feel like we want to be included in everything too much as well. Like sometimes we just need to just we are who we are. If you can't accept that, then we're not gonna change who we are to be accepted.
I think that's another thing that 2020 has opened our eyes to, and we are going to start seeing more black people just being black. Like
I am definitely more unapologetically. I feel like each day, just working, especially when you have to, especially during this time of still working for somebody else's business. I am just more and more black each day, and I make sure that I speak up on any issue that I see.
And I'm just like, look, it is what it is. And I'm going into a very, 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 very white profession.
Yeah.
Very white. So
Cheers to that one.
So I gotta step in black at all times. Before we go, we are going to play a little game called This or That. I'll give you two options. You have to pick one and tell me why you chose that. Okay. It's gonna be two different little things. So the first one is be light skinned or be dark skinned.
Be dark skinned.
Okay, and why?
Because too many people don't want you to be. I'm just like I'm devil's advocate over here. Do what the opposite of what somebody wants. I'm just that person. So too many people try to downplay on dark skin. So I'm gonna come in this thing and be dark skinned. But can I be dark skinned with the knowledge of knowing that everybody doesn't want you to be dark skinned, and the awakening that I have now about it?
You can. I didn't put that many rules on it.
Okay, thank you. I went deep.
I'm gonna just say be light skinned because it's more socially acceptable. So you'll get some person, a dark skinned person who probably wouldn't get. No, I mean it's sad to say, but I mean you act
honesty, appreciate it. Honesty, appreciate it.
That's. I was about to say. I mean that's real life. That's true.
Mm-hmm.
Like you don't have all the struggles. Erase the last 200 years or move forward with the knowledge that we have now.
Move forward,
yeah.
I just feel like we wouldn't have, you know what I'm saying, we standing on the shoulders of a lot of our ancestors, and I don't feel like we would feel so proud to be Black, sadly, if we hadn't gone through those things. You know what I'm saying? I feel like that separates us.
True.
I say move forward. That's just my life motto. Like I know it's cliche, like don't focus on the past, but you know, I like to gain knowledge through what I've been through and to keep it pushing because I can help the next generation, you know, eradicate some of the problems that we had growing up, or you know, just passing on knowledge, you know, because we have learned a lot of stuff about, you know, through those 200 plus years from our ancestors, you know, passed down. They can be beneficial for generations on. So I just say move forward.
So I enjoyed talking to you guys.
I enjoyed you, P.
Thank you. If you are listening in, don't forget to subscribe to the podcast anywhere you get podcasts. Come back next Thursday for a new conversation. And peace out.
Bye.
Peace.